Before you begin this journey, take a deep breath and ask yourself one question. What if the only thing standing between you and confident English is a new story you choose to live? Not a story of fear, not a story of mistakes, but a story of discipline, clarity, and small daily victories. This video is not just a lesson, it is an invitation to rebuild the way you learn, the way you think, and the way you see yourself. Every chapter is a step toward a stronger, calmer, more focused version of you, and today, that version finally wakes up. You wake up in the morning, look at your English book, and feel that small, heavy stone inside your chest again. It is the same feeling that appears every time you want to speak but keep quiet, every time you want to join a conversation but stay in the background. It does not shout, it whispers. It tells you that you are not ready, not good enough, not brave enough to use the words you already know. This quiet voice becomes your invisible wall. You do not see it, but it stops you again and again. Confidence does not disappear in one moment. It fades slowly. It fades each time you open your mouth to speak English and then close it. It fades each time you prepare a sentence in your mind but never say it. It fades each time you compare yourself to others and say, "This person is better than me." It fades each time you imagine what people might think about your accent, your mistakes, or your grammar. Your mind collects these moments like small pieces of evidence that you are not ready. It begins to believe that speaking English is dangerous, that making a mistake is shameful, that silence is safer than action. But the truth is different. You are not weak, you are not slow, you are not untalented, you are simply missing proof. The brain trusts action, not thoughts. When you never speak, your brain concludes that you cannot. When you try even one small sentence, your brain begins to say, "Maybe I can." This simple shift is the beginning of real confidence. Many learners think confidence is a feeling, but it is a memory of doing something brave, even if it was small. Most students think they struggle with grammar or vocabulary, but the deeper struggle is emotional. They fear judgment, they fear embarrassment, they fear not understanding or not being understood. They think English learners must be perfect before they speak, when the truth is the opposite. You speak first, then you grow. You make mistakes first, then you improve. You show up first, then your confidence slowly follows you. This quiet problem grows strongest when you hide your progress. You say nothing, so no one hears your English. You avoid practice, so no one corrects your mistakes. You study alone, so no one celebrates your small victories. The longer you hide, the darker your English journey becomes. It is like walking through a long hallway with the lights off, scared of every step, even though the floor is safe. But here is the secret. Confidence does not come from being fearless. It comes from taking small steps even while you feel fear. It comes from giving yourself permission to learn out loud. It comes from seeing every mistake as part of the journey, not a sign of failure. And slowly, the quiet problem begins to lose its power. You begin to understand something important. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Your English matters, and the world is waiting to hear it. Real confidence in English does not appear the moment you memorize a new list of words or finish a grammar lesson. It grows slowly, like a plant that needs real sunlight, not just the picture of the sun. Many learners believe they must feel confident before they speak, but confidence does not work that way. Confidence comes after the action, not before it. Your mind needs proof that you can survive a real situation, and that proof arrives only when you open your mouth and use the language, even if your sentence is short and imperfect. Think about the first time you understood someone speaking English without subtitles. At first, it felt impossible, but then, suddenly, you understood one sentence. That moment changed something in you. This is the process of building real confidence. It is not a dramatic transformation, but a quiet, steady shift. Step by step, your brain collects successful moments. I said something. I understood something. I asked a question. I continued the conversation. These small victories are the bricks that build your inner strength. True confidence is not about sounding like a native speaker or speaking without mistakes. It is about trusting yourself in the moment. It is the ability to breathe, stay calm, and express your idea, even if your grammar is not perfect. English is not a test, it is a tool. You do not need to polish every word, you need to communicate. When you stop trying to impress people and start focusing on connection, your confidence grows naturally. Many students underestimate the power of simple actions. A short voice message to a friend can strengthen your speaking muscles. Reading one paragraph aloud can improve your rhythm and pronunciation. Watching a video and repeating 5 sentences can make your speech more natural. These tiny actions form a chain of experiences, and every link in that chain tells your brain that you are capable. The lack of confidence often comes from waiting for the perfect moment. Learners tell themselves they will speak when their vocabulary is bigger, when their accent is cleaner, when their grammar feels safer. But the perfect moment never arrives, because perfection is not the goal of language. The goal is progress. The goal is communication. The goal is courage. When you shift your focus from perfection to expression, everything changes. Real confidence shows itself when you make a mistake and keep speaking, when you misunderstand someone and politely ask them to repeat, when you forget a word and find another way to explain your idea. These moments prove that you are not fragile. They show that you can survive confusion and continue moving forward. This is the heart of confidence. Little by little, your English becomes not just a subject you study, but a part of who you are. You start thinking in simple English phrases during the day. You describe objects around you. You repeat expressions you heard from native speakers. Your English becomes more than knowledge. It becomes a habit, a natural part of your daily life. And with every small moment of use, your confidence becomes less about fear and more about freedom. You begin to walk into situations where English is needed and feel a quiet strength, not panic. You begin to understand that confidence is not something you wait for, it is something you build with your actions, sentence by sentence, day by day. The foundation of real progress in English begins with one simple idea, a small action every single day. Not a perfect action, not a long action, just something small that creates movement inside your mind. Many learners believe they need big study sessions to improve, but the truth is different. Improvement comes from consistency. And consistency is built from tiny steps that are easy to repeat. When your daily action is small, your mind does not panic and your fear does not rise. You simply do it, and your confidence grows quietly in the background. Imagine you speak one short sentence today. It might feel insignificant, but your brain records it as success. Tomorrow, you read one paragraph aloud, another success. The next day, you listen to a short clip and repeat one expression, success again. These moments do not look powerful when they stand alone, but together they create a chain of learning. This chain becomes your personal proof that you are capable of growth. Small actions build big identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids English and start seeing yourself as a person who shows up daily. Many students wait for motivation, but motivation is unreliable. It appears and disappears like the wind. A daily action does not depend on motivation, it depends on structure. When you commit to a tiny goal, such as speaking for 1 minute, shadowing one sentence, or writing 3 lines in your journal, your brain accepts the task because it feels safe. This is important because fear often hides behind big goals. When the task is small, fear becomes quiet and you begin to move forward without resistance. A useful phrase for learners is small steps, big progress. Another helpful idea is progress is better than perfection. These simple expressions remind you that learning a language is not a race. It is a slow, steady journey that responds to repetition, not intensity. Every small action becomes a seed. With time, these seeds grow into fluency. The real magic happens when your small actions turn into habits. A habit does not require emotional effort. It becomes automatic. You wake up, drink water, check your messages, and practice 2 minutes of English. You do not argue with yourself. You simply follow the routine. And because the action is small, it fits naturally into your life. This is how confidence is built. Confidence grows from the identity you create through repeated behavior. You begin to notice something surprising. After a few days of small actions, your English feels closer to you. You stop worrying about your mistakes. You stop doubting your ability to improve. Instead, you feel steady, calm progress. 1 minute of speaking becomes 2. 1 sentence becomes 3. A short paragraph becomes a full page. Not because you forced yourself, but because your small actions created momentum. Small actions are powerful because they break the heavy cycle of waiting. Waiting for the perfect day, waiting for the perfect mood, waiting for the perfect level. But every day you wait, your fear grows stronger and your confidence grows weaker. A small action is a signal that you choose movement instead of waiting. It is your promise to yourself that you are capable of change. And once you take one small step, your mind becomes ready for the next one. Your daily actions create movement, but your inner voice decides whether you continue this journey or abandon it. Many English learners live with a silent, heavy critic inside their minds. This critic whispers that they speak too slowly, that their accent is embarrassing, that their memory is weak, that others learn faster. These thoughts may feel true, but they are only reflections of past fear, not reality. The way you speak to yourself becomes the lens through which you see your abilities. If the lens is dirty with negativity, everything looks impossible. Your inner speech is not just background noise. It is a tool, and it can either build or destroy your confidence. When you say to yourself, "I always make mistakes," your brain searches for evidence. When you say, "I am learning step by step," your brain searches for progress. The phrase you choose becomes the direction you walk in. This is why simple, positive sentences are powerful for English learners. Phrases like, "I can improve slowly," and "I am allowed to make mistakes" act like warm light in a cold room. They soften fear and make space for growth. Your self-image is shaped by repetition. If you repeat negative messages every day, your self-image becomes small and tight. You begin to believe that English is too hard, that you are too old, that learning is too late for you. But when you intentionally repeat supportive thoughts, your self-image expands. You start to see yourself as a learner, as a communicator, as someone who grows with each attempt. This does not happen overnight, but each positive sentence becomes a small brick in a new identity. A useful practice is to notice the moment when your inner critic appears. Many learners feel anxiety when they speak because the critic wakes up immediately and says, "You will fail." Instead of arguing with this voice, replace it with a gentler, stronger message. Try phrases like, "I am practicing, not performing," or "I am building, not proving." These short expressions calm the emotional storm and remind you that learning is a long road, not a moment of judgment. Another important part of inner speech is recognizing your strengths. Learners often see only their weaknesses. They forget that they are persistent, curious, brave, and capable of learning new systems. When you take a moment to notice your strengths, you begin to rebuild the foundation of your confidence from the inside. You might say to yourself, "I keep trying, I show up every day," or "I improve a little each week." These thoughts may seem small, but they work like anchors. When fear tries to pull you away, your new identity holds you steady. As your inner voice becomes kinder, speaking English becomes less frightening. You no longer attack yourself for every mistake. You no longer compare yourself endlessly to others. Instead, you begin to see mistakes as normal steps in the learning process. You begin to understand that progress is quiet and often invisible at first. And you begin to trust yourself, not because you are perfect, but because you finally allow yourself to grow. This shift in inner speech is the moment everything changes. When your thoughts support your actions, your confidence rises naturally. You speak more often, you try new exercises, you explore new content, and your English becomes a part of your identity, not a source of fear. Your self-image transforms from someone who doubts to someone who develops, one encouraging sentence at a time. Your inner voice shapes your identity, but the environment around you often decides how far you can grow. Many English learners try to improve while living in surroundings that quietly pull them backward. They spend time with people who laugh at their English, who complain about everything, who believe progress is impossible, or who see learning as a waste of time. This kind of environment drains your energy and slowly kills your motivation. You start believing that your dreams are unrealistic simply because the people near you cannot imagine anything greater for themselves. Your environment acts like soil. If the soil is dry and full of stones, even the strongest seed will struggle to grow. But when the soil is rich, soft, and full of light, even a small seed can rise into something powerful. This is why choosing your surroundings with intention is essential. You do not need to cut people out of your life, but you must protect your focus. You can choose to spend less time listening to negativity and more time watching English videos, reading short texts, or practicing pronunciation. Every minute you remove from noise becomes a minute added to progress. Your body is also part of your environment. Many learners underestimate how physical habits affect their confidence. When your body is tired, your mind becomes heavy. When you sit with a closed posture, your breathing becomes shallow and your voice becomes small. When you spend hours without movement, your focus fades, and English feels harder than it actually is. Simple habits can change this dramatically. A short walk before studying, a few deep breaths before speaking, stretching your shoulders before reading aloud, these actions send a message to your brain that you are safe, present, and ready to learn. There is a helpful phrase: emotion follows motion. When your body stands tall, your mind feels stronger. When you move with purpose, your confidence increases. When you relax your muscles, your fear decreases. Your posture, your breath, and your energy are teaching tools, just like vocabulary lists and grammar exercises. They guide your emotional state and help you stay focused even when you feel nervous. Your personal space also influences your learning. A clean desk, a notebook you enjoy using, a simple routine, a quiet corner. These things create mental clarity. When your space is organized, your thoughts become lighter. When your phone is away, your attention becomes sharper. When your learning materials are ready, your brain feels prepared. This is not about perfection. It is about giving yourself the right conditions to succeed. Energy is the final key. You need to protect it like something valuable. If you spend your energy arguing, worrying, scrolling endlessly, or trying to impress others, you will have little left for learning. But when you choose activities that fill you with calm and curiosity, your energy becomes a source of strength. Listening to soft English audio, reading a short, inspiring story, or writing 5 lines in your journal can restore your internal balance. These actions remind your mind that learning English is not pressure, it is growth. As your environment becomes cleaner, your body becomes more awake, and your energy becomes more protected, learning English transforms from a struggle into a natural part of your life. You no longer fight against the world around you. Instead, the world begins to support your new identity. Step by step, your surroundings, your physical habits, and your energy all work together to help you rise with more clarity, more focus, and more confidence. When your environment begins to support your growth, something powerful becomes possible: the creation of a new version of yourself through a simple and steady plan. A 30-day journey may sound small, but it can transform your relationship with English and with your own confidence. You are not trying to become perfect in a month. You are building a new rhythm that makes learning natural, meaningful, and consistent. Every day becomes a small victory, and these victories shape a stronger identity. The plan is built on 3 daily steps. Each step is small, but together they create momentum. The first step is your English action of the day. It does not need to be long or complicated. 1 minute of speaking, 1 paragraph of reading aloud, 5 sentences of shadowing, or a short voice recording can build the skill you need. This simple routine trains your brain to expect daily practice. The phrase, "small action, big impact," becomes true when repeated every day. You stop waiting for the right moment and begin creating your own moments. The second step is your inner reflection. Before sleep, take a brief moment to recognize something you did well. It can be as simple as, "I tried today," "I did not give up," or "I learned a new phrase." This gentle ritual changes the way your mind sees you. Instead of focusing on mistakes, it begins to focus on growth. Over time, these reflections form a new self-image. You start to believe in your ability to learn, and this belief becomes fuel for your next steps. The third step is your energy check. Confidence needs support, not stress. Choose one small action each day that protects your energy. You might take a short walk, drink water instead of scrolling through your phone, watch a calming English video, or create a quiet space for practice. When you care for your energy, learning becomes lighter. Your mind opens, your focus sharpens, and your emotional strength rises. You begin to understand that English is not just a skill, it is a lifestyle that grows when your energy feels safe and steady. As the days pass, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop counting the minutes and start noticing progress. Your pronunciation becomes clearer. Your listening becomes faster. Your writing becomes smoother. Your speaking becomes less frightening. Each day of the plan adds a new layer of confidence, and each layer makes you stronger than yesterday. You start thinking in phrases like, I can say one more sentence, or I can understand more than before, and these thoughts become new instructions for your brain. By the time you reach the 30th day, you realize that you did not just practice English, you built a pattern of success. You learned to act even when you were tired. You learned to support yourself instead of criticizing yourself. You learned to protect your energy and create the right environment. Most importantly, you learned that confidence is something you build with consistent action and kind inner speech. The new version of you is not louder or perfect. It is steadier, clearer, and more focused. This 30-day plan does not end on day 30. It becomes a blueprint for the rest of your journey. You carry forward the habit of small actions, the practice of positive reflection, and the balance of healthy energy. You continue growing slowly, bravely, and consciously. Step by step, sentence by sentence, you rise into a version of yourself who approaches English with strength instead of fear, with curiosity instead of pressure, and with confidence instead of doubt. You now have a clear path, simple steps, and a new mindset that grows stronger with action. Your confidence is no longer a dream, it is a skill you build every day. Keep moving, keep speaking, keep rising. One small step at a time, you are becoming the person who does not wait for confidence, you create it. Thanks! Please subscribe and like. Spin a new yarn with us every week. See you there!